What is up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're getting into episode 29 of my season predictions videos. We have the Atlanta Falcons today, the final conference of these entire videos, the NFC South, baby. Let's get it. We are about to get to the NFL season. So once we get these these four teams done, you better know it. We're gonna get every team all together, seeing all their records and seeing the final standings for my entire predictions. Super hyped. That should be about next week. But anyway, let's get into these predictions here. Starting out with this first game of the season, Desmond Ridder and the Falcons take on the Carolina Panthers in week one. This should be a good game, I think. Bryce Young's debut game. I do think a debut game, there might be some drawbacks there with the Panthers on the road. I think that the Falcons can get the win. Moving on, we have the Green Bay Packers. Not an easy game there, but I do think at home they should be able to get the job done. Then on the road against the Lions, that's going to be too difficult of a game. I'm going to give that one to Detroit. Now we have the Britain game in week 4 against the Jaguars. It could be a competitive game, but Jacksonville, I do think, is the better team in general, and there's a lot of Jacksonville fans down in there, so it's going to be a little bit more of a home game for that team. So I think that the Falcons will drop that one. Moving on, we have the Houston Texans in Week 5 at home. That should be a win. Now, another good game here between the Washington Commanders. Commanders coming off a Thursday night football game there. That's going to be, I could see an upset win there from Washington, but I'm going to give this one to Atlanta. Being at home, as you see, we've gone all home games so far, surprisingly, but I guess that's just how it played out. Of course, this one's not a home one, but that one, like I said, I think it could be 50-50, the Commanders, and if Sam Howell is playing good, that could be an upset, but I'm going to go with Atlanta. Moving on, we have the Bucks against the Falcons. And I'm going to give this one to Tampa Bay. I do think that Baker Mayfield and this Buccaneers team in general has enough talent to get one against the Falcons there. Then a tough game. They had to go to the Tennessee Titans arena, a bye week for the Titans. I think that one's going to be a loss there to fall to 4-4 on the season. Moving on, we have the Falcons against the Vikings. And at home game, we're going to finally have a switch up here for a left colored in win there for the Vikings. I do think that's one should be a good one. That's not a cakewalk game at all for the Vikings. I think that the Falcons could win it, but I am going to go with the Vikings on the road to pull off the win. We go to the Arizona Cardinals, and surprisingly for Falcons fans, I'm giving this one to the Cardinals. The Cardinals not going to be a great team this season, but they can pull up a few wins. The Falcons, they're going to desperately need this bye week, I think, at this point on the season. I think they're going to have some growing pains at some points in this year. It's still a very young roster there. I do think that the Cardinals win it. But then we have the Saints also coming off the bye week, and unfortunately, I'm giving this one to New Orleans as well on the road. At home, that's going to be a tough loss for the Falcons to swallow. But the Saints are also coming off that bye. That doesn't do them any favors. Saints are a very solid team with Derek Carr in that defense. The Saints could be a decent team this season. So I'm going to give that one to New Orleans. But then the Jets, I do think, will beat the Falcons as well. That one's a little bit more straightforward on the road against New York. That's going to be a loss in my opinion. So loss after loss here, they fall to 4-8. Can they maybe bounce back here? They got the Buccaneers. I do think that they can beat Tampa Bay. A tough road game, but I do think it's a manageable win. Next up, they have the Carolina Panthers. Bryce Young, I think at this point on the season, going to be hitting his stride, and I think that the Panthers win that one. Moving on, we have the Indianapolis Colts at home. Give me the Falcons in that one. The Colts, not the worst team in the NFL, but the Falcons are the better team, and being at home, I think that they can win it. Moving on, we have the Bears in Week 17. I do think that the Falcons are in general a better team than Chicago, but Chicago at this point on the road in a Week 17 game, that's going to be a tough one. I do think that the Bears can win that one. And then rounding out the season, this division's not very good at all. This could be a game where we could see maybe the winner of this makes the postseason, I think it happens for the Atlanta Falcons. They're going to win the Saints, upset them on the road. I don't think that the Saints are good enough to sweep the Falcons this season, and the Falcons go on the road and pull off the upset. So that's going to leave the Falcons at a final record of 7-10, which they really started out the year, as we see here, at 4-2, very solid. Then they go on a big-time losing streak, losing 6 games straight, which is really, really bad. But then finishing off the year with a 3-2 record, it's not bad. So 7-10 is a decent enough record, I think, for the Falcons. I believe this team won 6 games last year. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. But yeah, I think that this is going to be a solid year for Atlanta. They do finish 3-3 in the division, evening up the series with every team. They finished 5-7 in the conference, 6-2 at home, and 1-8 on the road. This was a little bit of an interesting one where it played out like that, where the Falcons got a lot of good home wins, but a lot of bad road wins. They have some tough road games, but some easier home games. I'll just give it that. But yeah, I think that this is a very well-coached team here for the Atlanta Falcons. I think that keeps them afloat. But Desmond Ridder is just going to be a middle-of-the-ground quarterback. This Bijan Robinson is going to be a very good addition to that run game with Tyler Algier as well. This offense should be very good, but this defense is still unproven. I think that that's going to set them back. It's still a young team. I think we'll see some improvement. We're going to see some improvement here, I think. I think this team's well-coachedness, I think, at the beginning of the year is going to show up, especially with some of these easier teams. But once they get into this meat of the schedule here, it's going to be tough. But anyway, guys, that is my Atlanta Falcons predictions video. Hope you all enjoyed the